Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 116 of Empire State Podcast. I hope that you are all well. I have just returned from the most beautiful holiday in such a gorgeous place called Calcan. It is honestly one of the best holidays I have had in ages. The vibes were vibing and I can't lie, I was a little bit gutted to be back in England. So there we are, especially as it was absolutely belting down as soon as we got back to Manchester, which was a stark contrast to the gorgeous sunny beach clubs that I had become accustomed to over the week before. But there we go, never mind. Anyway, it's October. Happy October, happy autumn. How exciting. We have officially stepped into the autumn months. It is witch season, baby, and I am here for it. So this week, rather than talk to you specifically about law of assumption concept, I can't get my words out, law of assumption concepts, I thought that we could do a bit of a mindset episode and talk about making the most of this last quarter of 2024, because how the fuck has that happened? I'm sure it was January about 12 minutes ago. Now, because we are conditioned to believe that New Year starts in January, even though that really doesn't match up with the cycles of nature, including us as humans, because obviously we're a part of nature, we view this as the end of the year. And because of that, a lot of people feel quite down once summer's over and once we start approaching the winter months and we're in autumn. But I want to invite you to change your perspective and make this part of 2024 the best quarter of all of them. So if you have been feeling like, oh, it's the end of the year, I've not got as far as I wanted to, it's too late now, I'm going to wait till next year, all of those feelings that are very common, believe me when I tell you that your life can change dramatically in the next 3 months before the end of 2024. I know I've told you this before, but I'm going to tell you again. In October last year, not even the start of October, it was the end of October, I was texting my boss, my head teacher, to just inquire about potentially dropping down to 3 days a week at school, starting in the September that's just gone. Less than 3 months later, at the start of January, from the end of October to the start of January, I had handed in my notice, and by March, I was no longer working at that job at all, and I'd started my own business. Do not underestimate the drastic positive changes that can occur in 3 months. Time has got absolutely nothing to do with achieving your goals, living in parts of your vision. The only thing that counts is when you decide that you are going to start actively and consciously creating your life instead of waiting for another day or even worse, another year, which is what a lot of people will be doing right now. Now, the real new year to me is spring equinox. That is when everything begins to come back to life. The flowers are blooming, nature's waking up again, the leaves are growing on the trees and things are starting to sprout. And the benefit of choosing to view it that way, the same as me, that New Year is in spring, is that we're syncing up with the seasons instead of just syncing up with the names of the month. And that allows us to be smarter with our natural given energy and use it better. And most importantly, it also, like from a psychological point of view, when it comes to things like our goals and our visions, that means that we're only actually halfway through the year. Because if the new year starts in spring, we're only halfway. There is a reason, or at least I think there's a reason, that people tend to get bored and frustrated and down in the dumps in autumn. and they feel really tired in January and February. And it's because in autumn, in those months, we naturally still have energy. You might be listening thinking, I haven't got any fucking energy, I'm knackered. But generally speaking, at this point of the year, in this season, we still have a natural source of energy. And while all the other humans are giving up and lounging around and feeling like, oh, it's too late now, we can't achieve anything, it's autumn, that's it now, we're done. The rest of the natural world that we are the same as are putting in the work now. This is the season where they do a bit of graft. They use this energy that we're all naturally given and we all naturally still have in this season, and they use it to prepare the collecting nuts, the building dens. They're not sat bored waiting for January. Have you looked out your window and seen a squirrel lie there with its arms crossed tutting? No, you've not. They're busy. And in January, while all us mad bastards are waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going running on a treadmill in the gym or in the cold and dark, the rest of the animal world's fast a fucking sleep. They're all chilling. They're cozied up in the cave that they built. They're starfishing on the bed of crunchy leaves that they collected. They're resting. They're reserving their energy sources because that's the cycle of nature. They're living off the nut stash, ready to begin a new cycle again at New Year, which is in spring. So I'm just going to ask you to think about that for a second. Does that not strike you as a little odd that the rest of the animal kingdom that we are a part of is following this same cycle, but we're going off-piste and we're having our New Year's in January? Hello, Dad. I'm at my mum and dad's house and my dad's just walked in. Can I help you? You've stepped into my office.
You want a crumpet?
Yeah, I'd like a crumpet, thank you. I'll be back in a moment. The crumpet is banging, guys. Okay, so I was saying, sorry for the interruption, that does it not strike you as odd that we're not following the same cycle as the rest of the animal kingdom and we're having our New Year's in the depths of winter in January? Because that sounds quite sus to me. And apparently it was done to correct something in the original calendar. But many people, including me, believe that it was done by people who were in power at the time to confuse the public in order to disrupt like the natural rhythms and get control over people, taking away our power. So let's not fall into that trap. I know that we have to call January New Year, but it ain't New Year. It's not the end yet. So because of that, this is the time now where everybody else feels like, right, it's time to wind down. It's time to give up now. It's too late. But me and you, babe, we are doing the opposite this year. We are stuffing nuts in our cheeks. We are stocking up on crumpets. We are collecting sticks. We're building dens. We're doing all of the preparation work so that we can then have a nice, slow winter and be present and be cosy and rest and recover before it starts again. So let's look at this new season of autumn this year with a fresh perspective. I want you to forget what you have been told before. Get rid of the thoughts of it being too late to achieve something, and definitely release the idea that suddenly, when it's pitch black and it's freezing and you're naturally tired, that you're going to have this sudden burst of motivation to go and chase after your dreams just because it's January, because it's New Year. Because let's be honest, you fucking won't, will you? And neither will I. I will be sat in pyjamas, eating Quality Street, eating cheese and biscuits, watching shit telly and eating soup with the fire on. And that's where we should be. We should be resting in our caves in that season. So really look at these autumn months, October and November and the first part of December, which again people write off, as months where you can experience an incredible transformation which will allow you to come out of your rest period in the spring raring to go. And you'll also have a massive head start on the rest of the population because you didn't stop. You kept going in autumn and you used that energy to make moves instead of sitting there being bored and fed up. So for a second, I just want you to think of one of your goals that's a part of your vision. So it might be a specific health goal, maybe it's a financial goal, maybe it's a business goal or a relationship goal or a goal about your house. It doesn't matter what the goal is, but maybe think of one that's quite important to you and that until you listen to this podcast episode, you were planning on giving up on until the new year in January. Fake news new year. So think about that goal. Keep that in mind. The first day of winter this year is not until the 21st of December. And right now, we're only in the very first days of autumn, which, as I'm recording, still gives us 80 days of autumn left. That's over 11 weeks and 3 days that you could spend focused in on that goal, using your energy, using that natural source of energy that you've still got at this point in the year, and focusing on that goal that's a part of your bigger vision. Just imagine how different that area of your life could be by Christmas if you decided to do the opposite of all the people that you know, apart from the people who listen to this podcast. What if you spent the next 11 weeks committed to, I don't know, having a good morning routine or developing a meditation practice or studying the law of assumption, which I've got a great membership for, by the way, if you're interested. Or it could be completing like a course that you want to do that you know is going to move you forward in some way. It could be setting up your new business, starting a social media account. Like, you know, you could start a TikTok page and in 3 months' time you could have 10,000 followers and next year you could be a content creator. You could focus in on something for 3 months and make a massive impact. It might be developing a new habit in relation to your health. It could be going on a date every week to meet your perfect partner. It might be test driving new cars. It might be viewing houses that you'd love to live in and even clearing out all the shit that you're not going to be taking to your next home. What if you just decided that this season of 2024 was going to lay the foundations for 2025 to be the year that changes your life? You can absolutely do that. I promise you that you can. You have got the ability, you've got the time, and you have definitely got the natural cyclical energy. Now is not the season to give up. It's not the season to spend waiting for next year. You are not going to wake up on the 1st of January filled to the brim with motivation just because it's New Year. That is an absolute bullshit lie that we have all subscribed to for a very long time. But it's not going to happen. You know it's not, because you've done it every fucking year of your life, probably, if you're anything like me. So use this time to program yourself for success, whatever that looks like for you. It might be that you wake up on the 1st of January this coming year, and instead of being at the start line of your goal, where you normally are, like everybody else in the world, you're already there. Or at the very least, you can already see the finish line. And so you can relax. You can rest in that season. You can slow down. You can digest your nuts, so to speak, until real New Year in spring when you'll be ready to go again. But I really, really want you to try this. I'm encouraging you to try this shift in perspective on autumn. Try syncing up with nature and see how much more you can achieve, how much easier things are when you allow yourself to be in a natural flow. And aside from this, not so much from a mindset point of view, but just from a point of enjoying autumn. Autumn is such a beautiful season. There's so much colour, there's loads of celebrations, there's the excitement of Christmas building, there's all sorts of stuff going on, but a lot of people spend these next few weeks feeling bored, and that's because they believe it's too late, but they've still got this excessive energy left, because that's natural. They're missing the summer weather, but they're not doing anything. They're not going outside. So I'd really encourage you to make some plans in the 3D. I know, I know. You know that I don't normally tell you to be planning anything, especially not when you're creating in the 5D. That's not for you to plan. All you need to do when you're manifesting something, as you know by now, using the law of assumption, is to create the vision, to identify who is that vision, take action on ideas that you intuitively feel drawn to, develop habits and take actions of that vision version through small, consistent actions so that you're embodying that identity, but you're just allowing yourself to receive it. You're not controlling it and planning it. However, in this episode, and this episode only, I am telling you to plan, because we do live in the 3D physical world. And over the next 2 or 3 months, there's a lot of time and a lot of things to be enjoyed in the 3D. So the plans that I'm suggesting that you make are plans for fun, plans for enjoying the magic of autumn, plans for spending time with people that you love, plans for being present in the moment, because this is the most beautiful time of year, in my opinion. So I'm going to end this podcast episode by sharing some ideas. Well, I'm probably only halfway through, to be honest, guys. I've written lots of fucking ideas down today. Anyway, I'm going to share some of my ideas of like personal favourite bits of autumn and things to do in autumn that I am going to make a concerted effort to plan in this season, whilst I'm also busily working away on my health and my business goals, squirreling. I can't get that word out. Squirreling my nuts away for winter. I'm also going to be romanticising my autumn, and I'm going to share my ideas with you, and I'd love to hear your ideas. So if you've got some nice ideas that I might like, please come and share them with me in the Facebook group, Empire State Community, or DM me or tag me in your stories, because I would love to hear them. So the first one is to go for a walk in the woods early in the morning. Now, this one's a bit of a novelty for me this year, because normally I would only see the early morning when I was on my drive to work, and I would take pretty much the same route every day, and there was a certain place that I drove through, and it's just gorgeous, like at a certain point of year, and it's usually in October. It's when it's nice and bright, but it's kind of like a bit misty, and it just looks absolutely stunning. And this year, I've got the freedom to be able to actually go for a walk at that time in the morning, which is fantastic. So if you are a person who maybe walks on a treadmill, or you go to the gym every day, go outside. Go outside and jump in some crunchy leaves. That is something that is enjoyable to people of all ages. You are never too old to go and jump in crunchy leaves, whatever you might have heard. It's more important than ever as well to spend time in the outdoors. Sorry, not in the outside. It's very important that you get outside, because what makes a lot of people feel miserable and down is the lack of sunlight. When we're out in summer, we're spending a lot of time outside. You know, we're going for more walks, we're having barbecues, we're generally outside a lot more, so we're getting more daylight. It's not even sunlight as much as daylight. Whereas when it's a bit colder, we tend to stay inside, and that can really affect your mood massively. So even if it's just that you don't go for a walk in the woods and actually you just sit outside wrapped up and have your morning coffee in the garden, do that, because you've got to get outside. That's a really important part of autumn, to enjoy it and also to prepare yourself for winter months and prevent yourself getting into that low mood. Very, very important. So my second one is having a little day out somewhere new. Now, ideally, this would be somewhere a bit autumnal, like a nice little village or maybe a farmer's market, something a bit country bumpkin vibes. And I have already decided, and in fact, while I was writing the notes for this podcast, I already messaged my friend and asked her, she's called Sherelle, shout out to Shezza, if she wants to come to this place, and it's called Haworth. And it's about an hour away from me, but it's a little village, and apparently they sell all kinds of witchy shit, and I think it would be a really nice day out. So find somewhere maybe that you've not been before, and have a little day out. Maybe go to the Lake District or wherever you are in the world. Find somewhere that you've not been before and plan a day out. And maybe you could do it with a friend. So my next one is carving a pumpkin. Again, like jumping in crispy leaves, this is one of those things that we only do when we're a kid or maybe when we've got kids. But I'm actually still a kid. I know that might come as a surprise to you, but I am. And I imagine, like me, many of you would thoroughly enjoy carving a pumpkin again. You could even make soup if you could be asked. That's certainly not going to happen in my house, I'll tell you right now. But I will be carving a pumpkin. So the next one is having like a spooky film night. So this would involve getting your living room all cosy, getting your candles lit, maybe get yourself one of them like pumpkin spice candles, treat yourself, boost the heating for an hour, get your blankets out, make yourself like a little plate of nice snacks, get some popcorn on the go, get some drinks, maybe a mulled wine, crack it open, and watch some spooky films. So it could be like The Witches or Hocus Pocus or Practical Magic. I love that film. Or maybe it's The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre if you'd rather a bit of demonic possession and gore. The choice is yours. But have a little film night. Make it like, if you've got a boyfriend, maybe you could make it like a date night. And if you've not, maybe get your cat involved. Get her to sit on the couch with you. That's what I'll be doing. So the next one is bonfire night. Now, obviously, I don't need to explain this. You can skip forward if you like for the next 2 minutes. But for you Americans listening, I'm just going to explain what this is because apparently I've just consulted my dad while he was making me a crumpet, and he reckons that you won't know what the fuck I'm on about with bonfire night. So if that's the case, on the 5th of November, on or around then, in England, we all enjoy this tradition that's a big part of winter, and that is standing in the dark, in the pissing rain, in a muddy field full of strangers, and eating a selection of brown-coloured, odd-tasting food. So things like black peas with vinegar in, out of a polystyrene cup, parkin, which is like a shit cake that we all weirdly enjoy, and these strange, like bitter tasting sweets that take your fillings out called treacle toffee. And we eat those whilst watching a fire with a body on top. And if you're lucky, you might see about 5 basic fireworks that are generally hidden by thick clouds. And I know that all has a whiff of the Wicker Man, but I assure you that the person on the fire is just a dummy. And it's supposed to be a man called Guy Fawkes who plotted to blow up the Houses of Parliament years ago and was unsuccessful. It does all sound a bit odd when you explain it, but there you go. I think you'd enjoy it. Give it a whirl and let me know what you think. And of course, if you are in England, find a good bonfire light. Don't go to a little shitty one. Don't leave it to the last minute. Look for a good one and get some tickets to it. So my next one is to do some kind of autumn creativity, bit of crafting. It could be making a wreath out of pine cones. A friend of mine went to like a Christmas wreath making class last year in November where they give you all the shit to do it and they give you wine and then you take it home. And apparently she had an absolute belter. So I might try and go to that one this year, or you could just do it at home. It could be crocheting a winter hat. I've recently taken up knitting, but for any knitters out there, I know how to do it, I've got the hang of it, but it seems to get wider with every row I do, so it comes out like a fucking cape rather than a scarf, which is problematic. I've tried to work out why, but I can't work out, so I'm making scarves at the minute, but they look more like capes. Anyway, so you could do some crocheting or some knitting. It might be making some like felt bunting for your mantelpiece for Christmas. It could be making Christmas cards. It could be painting candlesticks. It could be decorating a vase, baking, building something, whatever you like. But something creative is very wholesome and it makes you present in the moment. And it doesn't matter if it's a bit shit. It'll probably be a bit shit. Mine are always a bit shit. But you're not starting an Etsy business, babe. You're just doing it for the joy. So my next one is to go to a nice bookshop. Find one of the bookshops that have got a little coffee shop attached to it, because they're just very cosy, aren't they? Get yourself a new book and sit down and have a hot chocolate in the cafe or a coffee, because there's something about coffee shops and books that just go together. And speaking of books, the other day I went to the library in Horwich for the first time since I was a little kid, and I got a book out and I thought, what a bloody good idea this is, because I've got nowhere else to put any more books in my house. There's so many of them. So I'm going to start getting them out the library now. Right, the next one. I can feel myself going off track. I'm all over the place tonight. This one is one that I would love to do, and it would also be very helpful for me because it's very difficult to have professional branding when the only photos that you've got are selfies with the cat in your pyjamas on the couch. So this one is a bit out there, but it's to have an autumn photo shoot. Now, you could get a photographer to do this if you want to be all bougie, but I actually quite like taking photos, and I like learning how to get better at taking photos. And there is never a prettier backdrop, in my opinion, than in autumn. So instead of just taking a selfie when you're out for a walk, maybe go to a place that you love the scenery of, somewhere that's maybe not full of people. Put on a nice outfit that makes you feel cosy and autumnal, and that you like how you're looking at and you feel confident, and just spend like 10 minutes just taking some really nice photos of yourself or of your partner or of your kids or whoever it is, and then you could print them out and put them in an album or whack it up on your wall. And my final one, and this is my favourite one, right? Thanksgiving. Now, I know it's American. If you're American and you're listening, I'm trading you here. I'm giving you bonfire night so that you can stand in a wet, muddy field eating brown food in exchange for us being able to have Thanksgiving, right? So Thanksgiving is a massive event in America, I believe, and it's a celebration where they give thanks for the harvest and show gratitude for the blessings that the people have in their life. Now, you know that I am a big fan of gratitude. It's a big part of manifestation. You must be grateful for everything that you've already got to get yourself out of a state of lack. And showing gratitude, counting your blessings, doing anything that can get you into that state of gratitude is always going to be beneficial for manifestation. And as well as being a fan of gratitude, now I'm a meat eater again, I'm also a big fan of turkey. So this year, I'm going to be hosting a Thanksgiving dinner. And I have done this once before, and I fucking loved it. It was well good. We got a bit dressed up. It was like Christmas, you know, when you put your best kecks on, and my dad put a dicky bow on, my mum had a dress on. I painted a turkey on the conservatory window with a hole in the face for a photo shoot, which people seemed reluctant to get involved with, but I forced them. I made little turkey favours for the table out of Ferrero Rochers. We had a gratitude playlist, and I made a meal for us, and we went around the table and we said something that we're all grateful for. And I will be doing this again this year, and I would love it if you did it too. I bet actually some of you remember me doing this, because I remember that some of you tagged me in your stories in I think the podcast would have been only about a month old last time I did it. So I would love to see that. So yeah, come and share your photos with me in the Facebook group of any autumnal things that you're doing, any ideas that you've got to romanticise your autumn, and also what goals you'll be going after. What are you going to put your focus on? How are you going to lay the foundations for an amazing 2025? Let me know. So that is my favourite activities. And remember that we are only halfway through the real year. So you've got a choice now. You can spend it hanging around, bored, complaining, or you can grab it by the nuts and you can make this season your best one yet. And if you want some help doing that, come and join us in the membership. We are making moves in there, and as well as all the lessons, there's now 3 masterclasses, there's 3 Q&As, and there is the guided meditations and the subliminals that are all there, and you can access them straight away, and we do a new one each month. Now, just before I go, because we've been here for half an hour now, I do apologise, but I have got a little favour to ask you, and it's not a review. I mean, I'd love a review, I won't lie, I would love a review, but I've ordered a camera this week, and I've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel for a very long time now, and last time I felt like this, it was when I ordered a microphone and started a podcast, and that changed my fucking life. So I've ordered the camera, bit the bullet, and it is arriving this week. Now, I do already have a YouTube channel where the audio from the podcast automatically goes to, but soon, very soon, I'm going to be posting additional video content in there. So that's going to be extra from the podcast. It's going to be probably shorter videos, like 10-minute videos. And as you know, I don't have guests on the podcast, but I would like to start having some conversations with interesting people on video over on the YouTube channel. So if you use YouTube, I would love nothing more than you to come and subscribe to my channel and turn that little notifications bell on, because you're going to see me popping up there very soon. So that's what I've got for you this week. I hope that you have a beautiful autumnal week, and I will speak to you very soon. I'll see you later. Bye.